At the Vein Center, they are unbelievable. I was an avid softball player that traveled the country playing a sport that I loved. And after all these years, you know, I'm having a hard time walking. Well, it's been about 10 years ago when a doctor told me, she said, Mike, you need to start wearing some compression socks. And I looked at her like she was nuts. And I said, what are you talking about? I feel fine. I said, okay. But I didn't. And then I had a bad habit of sleeping in the chair, not laying down, keeping my legs elevated, never thinking about what could happen later on. Probably 7 years ago, next thing you know, I got a blood clot, and I was on an airplane flying from here to Vegas, and I never changed seats because it was on the Southwest Airlines. And you know, when they take that seat away, you got to fight to get back on it. So I stayed on 3 planes and never moved. Well, when I got to Vegas, my legs started hurting me. I was there for 3 days, and by the time I got back, a blood clot had developed that deep DVT in my leg to where I had to go to the doctor. And once I went to that doctor and got onto the Coumadin and epinephrine shots and the whole deal there, I knew then that I had an issue with my blood. Eventually, that goes away. And then it was about another year later, year and a half later, I developed another one in my right-hand side. So at that point, the doctors both said, you know, Mike, you need to stay on this blood thinner, so which I have. But I continued to sleep in the chair, and my legs were felt like they were always swollen. So I just kept on doing it, and then it was probably 5 years ago, when they just started bothering me. I felt like my legs were like numb. And I said, man, you know, something's up here. And it was a couple of years ago before I met the doc, where I developed a skin ulcer on the right-hand side. And I says, well, I'm trying to fix it myself, and that's not working. So once again, I decided to go to the doctor. And I went to a doctor that was in the system, a network, and the things that he did, I feel to this day, were definitely not correct. It was definitely to the point where I could lose my legs. And so my wife just happened to be looking at newspapers one day, and she saw an article about Love Your Veins. And so she read it, and she says, you know, with joy, Mike, I think this is who you need to go see. And I started laughing. I says, well, who's that? And then she says, Dr. Zadeh. And I says, can I come over there for a free screening? I says, I just want to meet the guy and let him look at me and tell me what he could do for me. And when I come in here, I'll never forget it. Me and my wife both started crying. And he says, Mike, it'll take some time, but we can get you fixed up. He'll sit here and tell me, he says, boy, Mike, I'd like to see you 5 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I would have thought about it back then, but I didn't. And thank the Lord that she just happened to pick that paper up and read that, because I've been coming here ever since, and it's just like it's the greatest thing that happened to me.